Look at this picture and tell me what's wrong with it. Any ideas? Yeah, I made it in MS Paint, but that's not what I was asking about. Take a look again. More specifically, take a look at the angle of the bench. Yes, the bench is set up way too vertically. And if you are setting up the bench like this when you do the dumbbell overhead press, you need to change this immediately before you get hurt. The bench needs to be in a slight incline, otherwise you are going to cook your shoulders. That is the first mistake you need to avoid. Now let's take a look at a crucial mistake when doing the barbell overhead press. There is a technique called pushing your head through the window. That is absolutely vital if you want to perform the barbell overhead press correctly. Honestly, the amount of people who are not doing this is absolutely crazy, so pay attention to what I'm about to explain. This so-called window is a moment that appears right when the bar passes your head. So as you press the bar up and it fully passes your head, your goal is to move your head and your torso forward a little bit, into this imaginary window. This is absolutely crucial if you want to get really good and strong at doing the overhead press. But you really need to make sure that you are not over-exaggerating this forward movement. I like to use the chicken example for this. You simply don't want to look like a chicken when you do the overhead press. That's when you know it's wrong. Now we absolutely need to talk about the grip width when it comes to the barbell overhead press. Because when you grip the bar way too wide, you are putting yourself in an extremely disadvantageous position. This is literally a self-sabotage, because you are making yourself so much weaker by doing this. You need to grip the bar shoulder width apart or slightly wider. This will make your forearms vertical to the bar, and that's exactly what you want, as this will put you in the best position to lift the most weight possible. Before we move any further, I want to show you my beginner and advanced bundles that I have released very recently. These bundles cover everything that you will ever need on your bodybuilding journey. The beginner bundle will teach you exactly how to start your muscle building journey right from the first day, utilizing a special training, nutrition and cardio guides that I created specifically for your success as a beginner lifter. The beginner bundle also includes the proper technique guide for all the exercises that I spent the last 6 months hand illustrating. And if you are already past the beginner stage, you should check out the advanced bundle, which will let you choose what training and nutrition plan you want. Plus, it comes with a brand new racking guide that will show you exactly how to start racking and go from a racking newbie into a racking pro. Racking is, in my opinion, the best cardio activity that exists. Plus, the amount of calories it burns is absolutely crazy. So if you want to check these bundles out, click the first link in the description. Alright, now let's continue. Shoulders are one of those body parts that are really susceptible to injuries, and once you injure them, you will most likely have to deal with it in some shape or form for the rest of your life. Because it is really difficult to fully recover your shoulders back to 100% once you get injured, as the shoulders are just so complicated, and it takes just one small part of the shoulder to get messed up and you suddenly have a problem. So you should always make sure that you are properly warming up before you start hammering your shoulders. And I honestly can't emphasize this enough. You don't know how much of a blessing it is to have healthy shoulders. You only realize it once it's too late. That's why I really want to hammer this home, so you don't have to go through all the problems that can be so easily avoided. For your shoulder warm-up, you really don't need to do anything fancy. You quite literally just need to get your shoulders warm, which can be done in a ton of different ways. You wanna do bodyweight push-ups to warm up? Sure. You just wanna do some arm circles and a couple of reps with an empty bar? Sure, go ahead. No matter how you do it, just never go into a heavy lift with your shoulders completely cold, because that's when disasters happen. A big part of building your shoulders is isolation work, but that's where a lot of people fumble the ball. The most popular mistake is using weight that is simply way too heavy for you. This is bad for any exercise, but it's the absolute worst thing, especially for the isolation exercises. The difference between doing the exercise properly and getting a ton of gains and just swinging around like a madman for absolutely zero gains is separated by just a couple of pounds. And people need to realize that you really don't need to go heavy on these shoulder isolation exercises, because the most important thing is the proper technique. Of course, you don't want the weight to be so light that you can do 40 reps with it. It should still be somewhat challenging, but you just need to be able to control the weight throughout the movement. So going heavy on these isolation exercises and trying to lift something that you clearly can't is just a terrible idea. Because when you use weight that is way too heavy for you, you are not working out your shoulders anymore anyway, as all the weight will most likely be lifted by your traps and momentum, because you just keep shrugging and swinging, and that doesn't lead anywhere. You need to make sure that you stay solid and that you are in full control of the weight as it is moving. If you can't cleanly lift the weight, then just drop it down. It's not a competition. If you have to use 5-pound dumbbells to do lateral raises, then just do it. There is no reason to try to look tough and lift something that you clearly can't. Because you won't look tough, you will just look silly. The next mistake we have to talk about is going way too ham on the front delts, because 9 times out of 10 that is just not necessary. Your front delts already get worked a lot by other pressing exercises in your routine. Just the overhead press and your flat and incline chest presses are hitting your front delts a lot. And then going out of your way to add even more exercises for the front delts is not only a waste of time, but it could actually negatively impact you over time. Because the front delts are getting already worked so much by all the other presses, you probably already have really well developed front delts without ever directly isolating them. And if you try to push that even further, it could create a big imbalance between the front and the rear delt. You can spot people with this imbalance in the gym if you look for one very specific thing, and that is their posture, which is very similar to a silverback gorilla, and you really don't want this. Maybe if it also came with the muscle mass of a gorilla, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Which segues perfectly into the next mistake, which is neglecting your rear delts. A lot of people don't train rear delts, which makes the imbalance we just talked about even worse. Because your front delts are already well developed while your rear delts are non-existent. You absolutely need to work out your rear delts in order to prevent this imbalance from happening. So if you don't have any rear delt isolation exercise in your routine, I would recommend adding either the dumbbell rear delt fly, the reverse pec deck, or the face pull. Adding one of these exercises to your routine will prevent you from turning into a skinny gorilla. And now the best for last. If you are struggling to grow your shoulders and you went through this whole video thinking, I'm not doing any of these mistakes, but my shoulders are still super small, then I'm pretty sure I know why that is happening. My guess is that the training plan that you are doing was created in a way which always prioritizes chest over shoulders. Meaning, in every single workout where you train chest and shoulders, the chest is always trained before the shoulders. And do you know what this does? It shifts all the priority to your chest and your shoulders are left on the back burner. Just think back to when you do the bench press, and after that your shoulders are so cooked that the overhead press that you have to do after that feels absolutely miserable. Feels familiar, right? That's why you need to make a switch. If you are working out your chest and shoulders twice a week, then make sure that one day you start with the shoulders and do the overhead press as the first exercise. And then in the second workout you start out with a chest exercise. This way both chest and shoulders will get equally developed and you will not just be growing one body part while the other one is left in the dust. And if you have been neglecting your shoulders by always doing them after your chest, you might even want to do a little more radical switch, where you start both of the workouts with the shoulders, and chest will now take the place of the body part that is more on the back burner. And you can keep it in this order until your shoulders catch back up. And once they do, simply switch to the balance setup that I recommended before, where one day starts with shoulders and the other one with chest. And this should cover all the biggest shoulder training mistakes. Don't forget about the bundles that you can check out in the first link in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, then I'm sure you will enjoy this one too.